ETCnomad is the same software that is used in the Eos family of lighting consoles, but designed for use on a PC or Mac computer. There are some unique considerations when using your own computer rather than dedicated console hardware. Let's go over how to get Nomad set up and look at the differences from a console so you can start editing a show file or controlling your lighting rig. The Eos software is free to download from our website. You can always get the latest version at etcconnect.com/Eos. There you can also find our minimum hardware requirements for PC and Mac computers. We strongly suggest looking at those first if you're planning to purchase a computer to run Nomad. Installing the software is the same as installing any piece of software on your computer. Run the installer file and follow the prompts. The first time you launch the software, you will need to choose Eos mode or Element 2 mode. If you are networking your Nomad computer with an Element 2 console, choose that one. Otherwise, pick Eos. Today we will go with Eos. The software will remember this choice from now on. If you ever need to change your selection, you can click the Change Console Mode button here. Once you have made this selection, the next screen will look just like the Eos shell. Let's pause here for a moment to talk about the Nomad Dongle. The dongle is a small USB device that can be purchased from any authorized ETC dealer. The software will present different options depending on if a dongle is present or not. Let's start by looking at the options available when no dongle is present. Offline with Viz is a mode designed to be used with third-party visualization software, like the one we use in our Eos Family Learning Series videos. This will allow a Viz program that receives streaming ACN to function properly. The visualization software can be on the same computer that Nomad is installed on, or on another network-connected computer. This mode will not allow for control of real lights via DMX or other network protocols. Let's go into Offline with Viz. I'm going to say OK. To make sure my Viz is working, I'm going to do a simple channel check. Looks like we're all good today. For now, I'm going to go back into the shell. Mirror is a mode used to duplicate the displays of another Eos device. One example would be a laptop set up at the tech table, so a designer can see the screens of the console in the booth. When a device is in mirror mode, the only action allowed from that device is paging via the page keys and shutdown and startup operations. When a device in mirror mode pages, it also pages the screens on the console to which it is connected. If there is more than one user in a system, a mirroring device can select which user to mirror by using the keyboard shortcut Alt F1. If you need more control from your remote station, or you want the screens to be independent from its host, you'll need to log in as a client rather than mirror mode. More on that in a moment. The augmented tether mode is used to run ETC's augmented software on a separate device that is networked to a console or another Nomad computer. For information on how to set this up, please check out this video, which is part of our augmented series. Nomad software can be used as an offline editor by using the offline option. You can save a show file from any Eos console onto a thumb drive and open it on a computer running Nomad. After you finish editing the show file on the Nomad computer, just save the file back on a thumb drive and reopen it when you are back at your console. Those are the options that don't require the presence of a Nomad dongle. Let's put the dongle into the computer and see what else we can do. Primary is the mode for using a single Eos device as a standalone controller or as the main device in a network system. On a system with multiple consoles, the primary is the device that client and backup consoles synchronize with, and it is the device that outputs data to the lighting rig. If you are using Nomad as your console, this is the mode you will need to select. Backup mode assigns that device as a failsafe to the primary console in a networked system. A console running in backup mode has full control of the lighting system, or can act as a remote video station. If the primary console in a system fails or goes offline, the backup console will take over and begin outputting to the rig. Only one device can be designated as a backup in a networked Eos session. A device set to client mode can act as a remote controller or remote video station for a system. A client device cannot output to the lighting system and will not take control if the primary fails or goes offline. Nomad dongles are available with different output capacities. To check the capacity of a dongle, look in the About screen of the computer with the dongle attached. You can see that this dongle has a system count of 6144. This number is how many DMX addresses the system can output. Note that dongles are not additive, meaning that plugging in multiple dongles to a computer or plugging a dongle into a console will not increase the output count of your device. In a system with only a primary device, whether it is a console or a Nomad computer, that device dictates how many DMX addresses can be output. In a system with a primary and a backup that have different output capacities, whichever of those two devices has a lower output count will dictate the output capacity of the entire system. Client devices have no effect on system output capacity. For example, if I'm connecting my 1024 output Nomad as a backup to an Ion Xe, which has a capacity of 2048, my system output will be 1024 because that is the lower of those two output capacities. If I connect the Nomad as a client to the same Ion, the system output will be 2048 as clients do not affect the system output count. Let's launch offline mode. The most obvious difference between a Nomad computer and a console is that I don't have any Eos hardware, including the keypad, in front of me. There are a couple of options to get around this. The first option is to open a virtual keyboard in a tab. The virtual keyboard mimics the standard Eos keypad layout and is easy to use with a mouse or touchscreen. I can select some channels, put them at full, and record my next cue. The next option is only available on Nomad, so you won't find it on Eos consoles. In the top right corner of each monitor are the quick access tools. The first three are present on all Eos desks, but the fourth one is Nomad specific. This is the pop-up virtual keyboard. It functions exactly like the virtual keyboard in a tab, but it's available quickly from anywhere in the software. The final option is to use the Eos Hotkeys. Hotkeys are keyboard shortcuts for Eos commands. There's a section in the manual that lists all of them, and both the virtual and the pop-up keyboards display each key's hotkey in the corner. A lowercase a indicates you need to hold Alt, and a lowercase c indicates you need to hold Control. For example, Go to Cue is Control G, and Color Palette is Alt C. Here's a queuing exercise, but we're going to use hotkeys instead of the console keypad. First, I'm going to make a split screen and open an augmented tab on the other side so that we can see what's going on. I'm going to make sure I'm in live, and I'm going to start by going to queue 8. Now I can say channel 2 at full, at 50, channels 2 plus 3 at 50. To get rid of all that manual data, I can do a clear sneak enter. I'm going to record a group with channels 1 through 10, record group 1. And now I'm going to do a quick save to save my file to my hard drive. Next, I want to record my next cue, so record next time 3/5. And I'm going to give that a label of speech. Let's go ahead and go into the next cue. So here you'll see that I got an error that's telling me the spacebar go function has been disabled and set up. This is intentional so that you don't accidentally hit go when you're programming on your Nomad. I can go into setup to enable this function, or as you can see on the command line, I can simply use this keyboard shortcut Alt G to enable it. I'm going to clear that error, use Alt G, and now my spacebar go function has been enabled. So now I can use spacebar to go to the next cue. There are many hardware accessories that can be used with Nomad. If you are using Nomad as the primary output device, we'll need a way to connect our DMX fixtures to it. There are also several Fader Wing models and the Eos Programming Wing. All of these devices connect via USB or a network interface and integrate seamlessly with any Nomad computer. Let's start by talking about the Gadget II. This is simply a USB to DMX converter which has 2 ports for up to 2 separate universes of DMX output. The Gadget II is plug and play. Once you've installed the Eos software on your computer, there's no need to install additional drivers. Nomad is not compatible with any third-party USB to DMX devices. Another option for DMX output is to use any streaming ACN or ArtNet compatible gateway. A gateway is a device that will convert a network protocol into DMX or back again. Gateways can be used for input or output of DMX. ETC produces a full line of gateways, but any streaming ACN or ArtNet gateway is compatible with Nomad. Nomad also supports ETC response MIDI, SMPTE, and serial gateways for integration with other systems. Full OSC support over a network connection is also supported in Nomad. When connecting your computer or any accessories via network, you'll need to make sure your network is set up correctly. Please check out our online support site and documentation for more information. While all functions of Nomad can be accomplished with a keyboard and mouse, sometimes it can be nice to have a little extra hardware for your programming. The Programming Wing provides the full Eos keypad experience with backlit keys, an intensity wheel, and a full master fader pair. The encoders across the top are great for controlling moving lights as well. Not to mention 4 DMX ports built into the back, a locking USB compartment to safely store your dongle inside, along with a USB hub to add additional components to. In addition, we also have motorized and non-motorized external fader wing options. These can be used on our consoles to add additional faders, as well as on your Nomad system. These faders function exactly like the faders that are built into our console hardware. I can assign submasters or unload them just like I can on a console. All Eos Fader Wings also have a USB hub on the back for easy daisy chaining of additional accessories. Up to 3 wings of any kind can be used on a Nomad system. For any questions about compatibility of external wings, please check out our documentation and our support site. While not technically part of the Nomad ecosystem, ETC Puck shares some similarities with Nomad. ETC Puck is a dedicated mini PC which can run Eos and other designated ETC software. Puck is a great option to use as a tech table video remote or as a budget-friendly primary lighting controller. Like Nomad, ETC Puck can be set to Element 2 or Eos mode and supports the same hardware accessories. As with Nomad, Puck requires the use of keyboard shortcuts or the virtual keyboard. Let's switch our Nomad computer to primary mode and see how we can control an LED fixture from a laptop. So in our setup here, we have our Nomad dongle connected to our laptop. We have a USB cable connecting the laptop to the Gadget II, and a DMX cable connecting the Gadget II to our fixture. To turn it on, I can take channel 11 and pick a level and watch it come on. I'm going to open up a color picker to make sure my fixture is working. We'll leave it in a nice warm white for today. I can record that fixture onto a submaster, say sub 11. And although I don't have any physical faders right now, I can assign that submaster to a virtual fader. Put that on the 10th fader. So I can just say sub 11 and click the virtual load button. I'm going to sneak out those manual values. And now I have a fixture on a virtual sub. Let's take a look at a few settings out here in the shell. We're going to click our settings button. Many settings out in the shell that are available to change on a console are not available for editing on Nomad. This is because your computer's OS is in control of them, and those settings will need to be changed in the appropriate areas in the setup of your computer. This includes things like the clock and your network settings. I do want to point out a few things here, such as the Open in Shell ECU checkbox. If you always want Nomad to open up into the shell rather than booting into the last function it served, you can check this box so you always have an option if you're going to boot into primary, backup, or client. Otherwise, Nomad will boot up into the last mode it was in. We do have several monitor options that we can change in Nomad. By default, Nomad is in full screen mode, showing one full window per display of your laptop. If desired, you can uncheck the full screen box and select up to 6 windows that you can use on Nomad. For this example, I'll choose 4 and say accept and primary. I now have 4 draggable windows, which are each labeled in the upper left corner. This is a great way to set up your show file if you're preparing on a laptop with 1 or 2 monitors, but you know you'll be moving to a venue with more than that. You can set up your snapshots and your views on each of the windows so that those are with you when you get to your destination. For now, I'm going to exit back to the shell. A couple other things to look at here in the shell. The software update button is used to install fixture library updates on your computer. The rest of the shell settings are covered in depth in our standard EOS Family Learning Series videos. Go check those out if you need more information. A quick note about networking. In any multi-console EOS system, whether you are using Nomad devices or not, all devices will need to be running the same version of EOS software and have IP addresses in the same range. For multi-console or network troubleshooting, please check our documentation or our support site, support.etcconnect.com. Nomad supports several third-party hardware devices. X-Keys, LX-Keys, and ETC's own LightHack kit are a few examples. Nomad also supports third-party devices that send UDP strings, MIDI raw commands, and OSC strings. For inspiration and assistance building your own hardware, check out the unofficial ETC Labs page on GitHub. For the X-Keys XK60, we have a free template you can download from our website to make your own labels. In addition, you can purchase pre-printed stickers from our website. Also available on ETC's shop is the LightHack kit. Learn how to program with OSC to create this device that can be used on any Nomad or console. Let's do a few more programming exercises to see some additional tools that are at our disposal when we don't have physical console hardware. Let's start with a go to queue out. I'm going to bring up group 2 to full, and I want to make those pink. And I'm going to record Q1 and label that pink. I'm going to select last and make those fixtures a cyan color. That looks good. Group 3 at full. Those need to be blue. And group 4 at full. Those should be green. I also need group 9 at full, and those should also be green. Going to record next and label that the cool look. I need group 4 out. Group 2, I need to change to orange. Record next, time 2, and I'm going to label that color change. Next, I'm going to select active and turn those out to get a blackout. Record 4 times 7, label fade to black. And I'm going to block and assert that cue. Next, I need to focus a couple of moving lights, 121 and 122. Let's go ahead and bring those up. I'll select 121 first, and using my ML controls, I have pan and tilt controls here that I can use to move my fixture onto their target. I'll hit next. And those look good. Now I'm going to select both fixtures. I need to give them a zoom of 19 degrees. I'm just going to select the parameter and type in 19 so I can get a precise number there. And I also need to turn them yellow. I need to record Q5 with a time of 1, and I need to change my color time. So I could either click on the tiles or use the keyboard shortcut to get color on the command line. Color time of 5, and I'm going to label that yellow. Put group 2 at 50 rem dim. And then I need to open up my color picker and use my standard colors to get to 3200. And that is going to be recorded as Q6. After a while, you'll start to pick up the keyboard shortcuts, and you'll be programming in no time. Don't forget, you can always learn keyboard shortcuts from the virtual and pop-up keyboards. We hope these videos have given you the confidence to get started using the EOS Family Learning Series on your PC or Mac. With a good knowledge of keyboard shortcuts, accessories, and Nomad-specific settings, you can now dive into learning EOS software and bring your next gig to life.